All right, happy Wednesday, everybody. Okay, a couple of announcements. If you haven't registered for the big reveal that's coming up in Dallas on the 8th of May, we need to register. And I'm talking about whether you, 6th. I knew that didn't sound right. The 6th, I'm sorry. Eek, rewind. It's the 6th of May. If you can't be there live, do your best to watch the live streaming of it because it's going to be awesome. Huh? Yeah, get registered. If you can, I know some of you have already planned little reveal parties where you may be getting together with somebody at a coffee shop. Some of you are going to get it together in your living room or at a restaurant. If you can get together with a couple of team members or maybe a whole room full of them, some of you have that planned. That would be awesome. If you can't do that, that's okay too. If you can't do any of it, it's okay. But I just don't want anybody to miss it because they didn't know about it, because it's going to be really good. I want to say hashtags here. Good, awesome, amazing. So many hashtags. Okay. The movie. Jetty's in the background mumbling about something. Anyway, good stuff. So I'm super excited about the big reveal. And tonight I have something I wanted to tell you guys about, but a little change in gears here. We have some guys on our team that I acted like I just found out that there's a congratulations in order, but I actually knew about it beforehand because I wanted to congratulate tonight, and I also wanted to ask some questions in regards to the congratulations and kind of like do a mini interview, but I didn't want to give him any time to get nervous. So I acted like I just figured it out. So I didn't want him to be like, oh my gosh, I have all day to think about it, because his answers will be way better. His answers will be way better if I just wait until like right beforehand and say, hey, you going to be on the Zoom tonight? Okay. Now, does anybody know how many ambassadors we have in this company? Roughly, has anybody heard a recent count? No? A guesses? Does anybody know how many we had last year at convention? No? Anybody? Okay, somebody said 400,000. Did that sound about right? Yeah, Jetty says that sounds about right. If out of 400,000, if you came in number 5 on the preferred customer list, I think that would be worth a shout out. And my good buddy Don, who's on here tonight, he came in number 5. Is it most preferred customers, right? That was on the leaderboard. True? Okay, for this week. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let him share any tips that he wants to at the end, but I'm going to ask him a few questions. And if I don't cover everything that he wants to say, then at the end, I'll let him say whatever he wants to. But I want to ask him a few questions because this is me being like, I'm going to lead the questions because I kind of know some things I want to point out that I have seen in regards to both Greg and Dawn and their business. They very much work this business as a team, right? And so I want to point out some things that I have noticed, and by pointing those out, I may have a couple of questions. So my first question and thing that I have noticed is, and Dawn, I'm going to unmute you if that's okay. Actually, I'm going to let's see. I don't know if y'all are are y'all in the same room?
No.
Okay, so I can unmute both of you probably. Maybe. Okay.
Hello.
Hopefully there won't be any ringing in the audio. So Dawn, I'm going to ask you first one question. This is a cool, not a loaded question, but I kind of front end loaded. I kind of know the answer to this question, but I wanted to point this out. Have you been regularly participating in the 7-day challenges that we've been doing and inviting guests to these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Every one of them so far.
I thought you had. Okay. That's a little thing you might want to put in your notebook, that Dawn made the leaderboard and Dawn's been participating and inviting people every time, don't you? Both of you do.
Yep.
I see both of you
yes.
inviting people.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Okay, by the way, they're
Not just one or two.
Not just one or two, right. They're not just inviting one or two people to these things. They're inviting a load of people to these things, okay? Another thing that I see, that I want to kind of ask a question about, I see consistency, and I actually want you both to, if either one of you want to speak about consistency in regards to, now I don't know what goes on like in regards to what you do face to face with people, how you work the business. I do, however, see what you do social media wise, and I see a consistent thread in your social media presentation of the business. And I know you guys have had a recent rank advancement as well. So it's not just the preferred customers that are coming on board. It's more than just that. So your business is really picking up some momentum. So do you either one of you want to say anything about your social media presentation?
Okay, well, I'll say something real quick.
Okay.
We work as a team. Greg does a lot of the marketing on Facebook. Mm-hmm. One thing that we do once we get people interested, then we send them a private message, Greg does, and then we give them my phone number. And I do a lot of talking on the phone because, I talk to him about the products and what it's done for me, what it's done for Greg. For instance, with me, losing I've lost over 40 pounds. It's been amazing. I've been able to keep it off. People see how passionate we are about the products because we still take our products every day. We do the Triplex Combo Pack every single day. I drink my pink drink every day, my ProBio 5, my Bio Cleanse. I've added the X Factor. I do the Accelerator. So, and one thing about it too, when a new product comes out, we always test the new product. So that way we can share, our thoughts on the new product and stuff. When somebody tells us that, it's a money issue, one thing that we do too is we work with them to figure out a way to get at least one product in their hand. If we can get one product in their hand, then eventually they try another product. You know what I mean? So, that's one of the things that we do. And seriously, Greg is amazing at doing Facebook marketing. I mean, I hand that all over to him because he does the majority of that, where, I just do a lot of talking on the phone.
Greg, you want to talk about that at all, about your Facebook stuff?
Am I on here?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you put me on the spot, Lori.
I know I did.
You did. We have a team, and Dawn does a lot of the Zoom calls. And it's really weird because I can do live videos on our Facebook page. I mean, we do wacky stuff and fun stuff, and we do live videos and do all kinds of videos, non-live or live. But now you put me on the spot tonight in front of your whole team.
You're welcome. I can do it anytime. I have an audience for you all the time.
I just want to tell everyone that, number one, Lori is our girl. And Dawn and I met her. Now, my family has known Lori for years in Ardmore, Oklahoma. And so when Dawn first joined, it took, just to let you guys know, he joined like 2.5 months after we found out about Plexus. And then I was saying no. I said no. I said to my sister on the phone, I practically cussed her out. I didn't cuss her out, but you know what I'm saying. I was like, no. I am not going to do it because I've done network marketing in the past and I got burned. And so I was like, no. But I'm telling you guys, it took me 7 months before I joined Plexus myself. And I regret it because I wish that I had done it sooner. I wish I had more of an open mind before then. But I did go to Lori's training before I joined, and it was such a pleasure. And I sat there the whole time just watching her. And at that point, this was like, I think it was May of 2013. And I think she told us she was senior Ruby. I think you were. And I was so impressed. And I was just sitting there going, I just sat there and listened the whole time. And I was like, wow. We asked a few questions. But when we left there, I said to Dawn, I want to go the Lori and Jetty route. And that has been something that we say, and we teach our team, and we say this all the time, is that we want to go the Lori and Jetty route. If you're not going the Lori and Jetty route, you're not going to get to where they are. So we've watched Lori on Facebook and we've studied her, and we also focus, we study other diamonds and see what they do, like the McCalls. They're crazy, so everybody has their niche. Mm-hmm. So everyone has to try to find what their niche is in this business and how to present yourself. Our Facebook page, we want it to be warm and inviting and funny, optimistic. We talk God. We ask a lot of questions, because if you ask a lot of questions, you get a lot of people, you get a lot of chatter. If you're not getting Facebook chatter, then people may not be paying attention to what you're doing on Facebook. So we incorporate our Plexus. At least we do like 3-4 Plexus things a day, and sometimes it's not even saying Plexus. And we learned this from Lori. You're right there next to me in the box. I see you, Lori. You're right there. So,
I can see him this direction on mine. That's both directions.
Yeah.
So we learned to incorporate Plexus into how we work our Plexus business. I do a lot of the marketing. I look at it as marketing, but it's not really marketing. To me, it's fun. We treat our business as fun. You can't have it always be serious. You can't always talk Plexus. You have to share your life.
Yes.
And I love the video that Alec Clark just did in his Plexus email. If you got it, did y'all see it?
Yes.
He said at the convention, I forget her name, that's going to be doing the talk about
Kendra.
how to work your business on Facebook. It's through storytelling. And we learned this a long time ago from this lady here, Lori. You want to have people follow your journey. You're telling a story. So that's one thing that we do. We don't want to overkill with Plexus, but we've been doing this 4 years and people are getting used to it. And so they know our passion. And another thing that we do, which is so important in this business, is that we continuously add new Facebook friends. We also still connect with people from our past. And just recently, we found more people from our past just recently. We've gone from 2,000 Facebook friends 4 years ago to over 3,000 something Facebook friends.
You mean 200 and something to begin with?
What did I say?
You said 2,000.
No, I'm sorry, 200. Well, I told you Lori put me on the spot. So we started off with 200 Facebook friends because we actually just joined Plexus, Facebook 5 years ago. So we only had like 200 Facebook friends. So, but we try to teach people, man, if you've been on Facebook a long time and you've got 2,000 Facebook friends already, you have a huge potential at it's like a gold mine at your feet. So we had to start from scratch. Mm-hmm. And we're both senior gold. I just turned senior gold. Dawn turned senior gold, I think last year, a year ago or something. Can y'all hear me? It says internet connection unstable.
We can hear you. You're
good.
Okay. Anyway, so I do a lot of the marketing. Dawn does a lot now, talk to people on Facebook. I'm not kidding you guys. We probably talk to 2 or 3 people every single day about Plexus. We have these boards over here with nothing but good notes that we keep. And we have to have at least right now, just over the last 3 or 4 months, at least 60 to 70 prospects. And some of them already been ordering and some are slowly starting to join.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we do. Dawn is really good. We also talk to people on our, in our team, we talk to people on their behalf. Some of these people are working. So we say, look, if you're too busy or you don't understand or you don't know how to work this business, we'll even do a Zoom training with you and your person. So we number one, we tell everyone this, and it's a true fact. We make Plexus a priority. Our family, our dogs, our friends, and God, and Plexus, we make all of this a priority. And because in my heart, Plexus is a godsend because it's done things for me that nothing else has helped me with, and I'm living a better life of it because of that today. That's why we praise the products. And when you treat your business on Facebook with, like your Plexus business with respect and fun and a lot of joy and positivity, I will tell y'all this. Last year, I did some posts about political stuff, you know, and it rubbed people the wrong way. And I noticed our business was not going anywhere. So I had to cut that out.
I had to cut him off of that. I'm like, stop.
But I'm telling you the truth, though.
We had some counseling.
Lori, you taught us this a long time ago, and sometimes Mr. Greg here, you have to find restraint. You know? But I have to be honest with you, is that I have not posted anything political in I don't know, 4 or 5 months. But
you know, since the election. I will say this, something I've noticed about your social media presence and the way that you guys, there's a lot of consistency and stick-to-itiveness. I mean, they have been with the company, with the business.
Sorry, our work phone's calling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know how to turn it mute.
Probably
It's all right. So I've noticed that these guys have been, they were some of our very first ambassadors, not the like very, very, very beginning, but they've been around with us for a long time. And the thing I noticed when I have conversations with them over Messenger and such, I noticed there's always enthusiasm. There's always what I call resolve, meaning regardless if they've had a bad day, regardless if it felt like, you know, they got kicked or beat up or whatever in regards to something going on with the business or with a teammate or with whatever, it never fails that they're always like, oh, I don't even have to ask them. I don't even think about asking them. That never even bubbles up inside me to ask them, is everything okay? You're not going to quit. I've never thought about that because they're always both like, they might just share a problem that they've had or maybe ask for some, political advice. Or that type of thing. Don't worry, they're not really asking my advice on politics, but they might ask something like about Facebook or something. But the resolve that they know what the products have done. They've seen dramatic results with the products, and they've seen it not just with themselves, but with family members have life-changing results, and they have a huge why. And another thing I wanted to touch on, that I want to lead this, kind of gear this in another direction, is, first I want to commend the way you promote events to your team, the way you promote, like, I always see members from your team on the Zoom calls. You always are making sure everyone has relevant information, and the way you go about promoting it on social media is very good. And also another thing that I see is the way you promote, actual Plexus events. You're always talking about that, and you put it in the highest regard. And you make sure that people know that that's important, and your team members know that, and then they get, hooked in and started doing the same things that you guys did. I always know if I'm having a bad day, if I just need my ego inflated a little bit, I can just ask one of them a question. They'll just start talking. Like, we did it the Lori and Jenny way. Well, but, they're going to have people saying it, well, we did it like Greg and Dawn did it. And it won't exactly reflect the way Jenny and I did it. It's just there's a lot to be said for the way you guys have done the business and the way that you stick with it. And the thing I've seen, and this is the next thing I want to talk about, is I can tell that you have, every time I think of when somebody really latches onto something, when there's a great big bird and it has big claws, every time I think of latching onto something, you guys, like a bird with big claws, have really latched onto the concept of residual income. And I think that comes from the fact that you worked really hard in your daytime, like what your other, 40-hour week, 80-hour week, I have no idea how many hours a week you put into other business ventures. And I'm not going to steal what I want you to say about this, but I know that that anything that you're getting paid, either per what you sell or per hour that you work, that's not residual like Plexus is is not retirement money. It's something you work and you work and you work. And unless you're saving money and doing it well, retirement is not really. And either one of you, I'd love to hear either one of you talk about that, about, looking into the future in regards to that. I feel like without you having said it, I feel like that's why you work your Plexus business. Like Jim Rohn. Have you guys ever listened to Jim Rohn's an old time direct sales person, and he always used to say, I'm working full time on my job and part time on my fortune. And I always used to think that's awesome, because that's really what this is, and that's what I see you guys doing. I think you grasp the residual income, but either one of you want to speak to that?
I'll let Greg talk.
Yep. Why not you? No, we see the big picture with Plexus. If we could, seriously, if everyone could look at the compensation plan, I mean, it's mind blowing. And the very fact that someone beneath you can climb rank and go further in the business financially and whatever, I mean, that's mind blowing. I mean, other network marketing companies, a lot of that, it doesn't work that way. So one thing, I do have my own printer supply business. I've had it for a long time, for I think 18 years, next month, 18 years. And you know what? I maintained that business. I actually made more money last year in my printer supply business. You know what I'm saying? My income actually increased because Dawn, thanks to Plexus, can work from home. Before that, and this is the wild thing, when he first joined Plexus, okay, so I'm telling you guys, as soon as he joined Plexus, he started sharing his results on Facebook, not like to work the business, but just sharing it, because I was like, I don't want to work the business. I didn't want to. I got
to interrupt. Greg, are you really stubborn sometimes?
Yes. Oh my God. Ask him. Ask my family. Ask my mother.
Yeah.
Very. So, now I've lost my train. No, but okay, when we have our Zoom trainings, when we try to do them each week or every other week or whatever with the team, sometimes we have so much fun, I have to leave the room because we laugh so much, because we believe in having a good time, because you can make this business real serious. And one thing is, we've seen people come and go. We've had a couple of heavy hitters that were on fire, and then something happened like divorce, or someone sidetracked them in their family that said, do this other business, and it was not legit, and we told them it wasn't legit, you know what I'm saying, and things like that, and then it just ruined their whole credibility. I mean, we've had our ups and downs in this business, but what we've done is, anytime we've lost business, we go after new business. And I know that, I mean, okay, I may have my own business, and I have to sell, but he doesn't know a thing about selling. But my point was, when he started sharing about Plexus 4 years ago, everyone was like, I want to try it, I want to try it, I want to try it. So, family got involved and this and that. We still have family, friends that still order every single month for 4 years, over 4 years, to this day. And we continuously, if we lose a customer, that happens. Lose an ambassador, yes, it happens. Of course. It's the nature of the beast. So it's just like my business. I lose business sometimes in my printer supply business. What do? I have to go get new business. You have to do it. So, and we've also, just let you guys know, we're proud of ourselves because we've personally signed up 95 people on our top levels in 4 years. And we're not diamonds yet, but we're still making good money. We're very proud of our income. We love, our whole goal is, it's not even about ourselves. The way we look at it is, we want to help other people make income too while they're changing people's lives. That's what we promote.
Yeah.
The whole health-wise and financial. If we can help people, we've had people say, oh my goodness, I got out of my credit card debt, or I was able to pay my mortgage payment, or we went on these vacations and Plexus helped pay for it, or medical bills. We've heard that, paid medical bills from the past. It took care of it. Our goal is to help build a team, but we want them to also benefit the rewards of working their business and have financial blessings. So it took us a long time. We didn't speak of financial blessings for like the first couple of years. And it took forever for us to understand that concept because we felt guilty. Like for the first couple of years, we didn't want to talk about how much money we were making or this and that.
I went through that too.
So I'm just telling everyone out there, new people, older people, number one, Emily Roberts said, share unapologetically.
Yes.
Did you see that? When she interviewed Celeste Quinn, Double Diamond, back in January, she said, share unapologetically. And that's the way you have to do it. You cannot care what the naysayers are saying in the corner. So that's the way we look at it. We keep a smile. We praise people. We love on people. And we give them a good back massage. So the truth is, if you throw love out there, you're going to get love back.
Yeah.
So,
I will say that I have seen such personal growth with you guys. I even as I was going through it myself, I recognize it in other people. As you're going through personal growth, you recognize it in other people. And what you're talking about, I went through the same thing with my own family, with my own experience. I can remember telling Jetty that at the first time I got a check that was like around $3,000. And I remember saying, in my mind, I thought, that's what lots of people like who have respectable degrees, like school teachers, that's what they make. And we started making that with Plexus relatively quickly. And I remember thinking, don't tell anybody. I told him, first of all, I thought we were robbing the bank somehow. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and do not tell anybody. Because I have people in my life who had degrees, who had, what you think of it like, they've done the work, like they went through 4 years of education in order to have a job that, paid them what we started making with Plexus. And the fact that it is a residual income and all these things, it just felt like almost like we were not doing something wrong. But in my heart, I felt like people will think, I don't know, who knows what I thought, a million things. Sometimes I couldn't sleep at night. And that was when we were making $3,000 a month. So you can imagine the personal growth that had to happen in my life for me to finally, I can remember where I was sitting. I don't remember what I was wearing, but I can remember where I was sitting and all the thoughts that flowed through my brain the first time I talked about the income part of Plexus. And after I did, I thought, I'm going to puke. I'm going to puke because now my family knows that we're not just, this is not just that cute little thing that I started doing. And that's kind of how I had let everybody believe it was, because I thought, seriously, how long is it going to last? And also, all these other things. My brain was crazy in regards to that particular notion. But I didn't realize, and I was set free by the notion that I didn't, this particular thing I'm about to tell you, I was set free because I didn't realize, and I should have, because I was in this same boat, that as many people need the financial part of this business, if not more, honestly. I posted a survey on my wall yesterday, I think, asking, which of these things do you want the most? A, B, C, or D? It was like your dream home, to be debt-free, great health, or I don't remember what the last one was. I'll think of it in a second as I get to telling the story, I'm sure. But I was surprised. Travel, that's what it was. And see, that one was insignificant to me in my heart in comparison to the other three. Especially when I started with Plexus, like if I could have had my dream home, if I could have had debt-free, if I could have had have great health, any of those three would have been like at the very tippy top of my dream list, any of them, above and beyond travel, because that seemed like, man, you're asking for a lot there. You want to travel on top of all these other things. But it's interesting to watch, to see the way people answer that question. It tells you a lot about sometimes it tells you what age they are. Like if you're thinking, if they don't even consider great health as part of what they would be concerned about. Hang on, I'll mute everybody. I got somebody unmuted. It's not. To think about probably people in their 30s who are all like, I'm not really worried about my health, or 30s or younger, you know, or some 30 somethings are worried about their health. But just the thought that there were that many people out there who started reaching out to me about Plexus because they realized the income potential was real. You know, before that, I was kind of like pretending and acting like, you know, I don't know. I wasn't really saying anything about the income potential because I was scared. And there's been a lot of personal growth for a lot of you who have been around on my team for a while. You probably had to grow up with me in that regard, because since I wasn't talking about it, many of you probably didn't feel as free to talk about it. And it's like one of the biggest problems on planet Earth. And I did want to offer you guys a challenge this week. I want to say, first of all, from my heart, a huge congratulations for all of the success that you two have seen in your business. This is not your first success. This is just the first time I put you on the spot, right? And I appreciate you being willing to be interviewed on the spot like this. And I appreciate the fact that I'm smart enough to know that to put you on the spot rather than give you 2 or 3 days to think about it and worry about it, right? You're welcome. And also, those of you who know him, you're all like, yeah, that was the best way to do that. But for me, from my heart, I congratulate you on your business success. And I also congratulate you on just everything, all the growth that I see. There's a lot. And I'm super proud of you guys. Super proud to have you on our team. And I wanted to offer, you guys do a lot of great social media work. And the challenge that I came across this week was in regards to branding. Branding really comes down to knowing your audience and knowing who you're talking to. And sometimes you have to fine tune it. You may think your audience is one thing. For example, you know, I thought my audience was probably only people who might be sick. And I come to find out I had a lot of people who would love to be debt-free in my audience as well. But over the next week, I have a challenge that I'm going to put on my group pages that many of you are involved in, my team page and other pages. I'm going to put it out there that sharing with you in regards to some thought patterns on how to post on your social media, how to brand yourself well. When you become a Plexus ambassador and you're deeply ingrained in the Plexus community and you've become Facebook friends with lots of other Plexus ambassadors, you yourself begin to thumb scroll past things that are not as engaging or things that seem very like an advertisement. And I put them out there too. Sometimes I'll put something out there that I know it looks like an ad, and I just do it because sometimes you do. But if you can incorporate some of the skills that we're going to learn this week, every day I'm going to put a new challenge. And I've put the first one on my team page already that just basically said, if you want in on this, let me know. And so that would be the post that can let you get notifications for every single day over the next 7 days. As we do this challenge, it'll notify you that I've put up a new challenge for the day. And I really don't, this is so important what I'm about to say. I don't want you to think of it, oh, this is what we're doing this week. I want you to, you know, like take your knitting needles and start weaving the concepts that are in this next 7 days into the rest of your Plexus business. I feel like sometimes, some of you get this very well, not just the branding, but some of you get, when we do a challenge, you realize, oh, that's part of the recipe, and you start putting it in every time you make cookies. You see what I'm saying? And then I see some of you who are like, okay, that's what we did for those 7 days. I really want to hit it hard and challenge you to begin to incorporate the thought pattern of the fact that people really buy something from you because of you. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll put a hook in the mouth because of what you're selling, and that's just going to be the luck of the draw sometimes. But mostly they're going to be engaged with you, who you are, the changes they see about you because of what you're selling, and part of your story. the most engaging television that we watch, the most engaging radio that we listen to, even the songs that we listen to, the most engaging ones are the ones that tell a story, because that is what life is. From the time you're born, you start a story. Everything about our lives, and when we're with other people. Okay, today, I don't know if you guys can see, but my eye is super red here, but I went and had my lashes done, so I almost look like I've been smoking weed or something. And like my daughter asked me earlier, she's like, Mama, what is wrong with your eyes? And I don't know, something went kind of haywire with getting my lashes done today. So while I was getting my lashes done, the girl who was doing them asked me a question, and it just set me on motor mode. And I just started telling, you guys know the story I told you maybe, I think it was 2 weeks ago, in regards to everything that led up to before we did that healing prayer. As I shared that story with her today, she asked me a question, and it caused me to start telling the story. She stopped me. She said, she actually like patted my head to shut me, like, shh. She said, hey, I just got to tell you, the way you tell stories, and I thought, uh-oh, here we go. This is about to be some constructive criticism, right? She said, the way you tell stories, it's like, it's interesting to me because I don't know a lot of people like you. It's like I was there. And I thought she couldn't really, honestly, for as much time as I've put into that particular part of my life, she couldn't have said anything nicer to me, because I was thinking, that's awesome. But I'm not saying that to brag on me as much as I'm saying that to make an impression upon you in regards to when you're around people, the more engaging you are, and the more that you seem relatable, and the more people can feel like they understand a little bit about you, the more likely they are to be interested in your life. Therefore, the more they are likely to ask you questions. And when they ask you questions, when people ask you questions, and I'm going to tell you, there was a turning point in my life where I used to be, Jetty would not let me get away with saying anything other than what I'm about to say. I am still an ridiculous question asker. It's the only way I know how to learn things. And so when someone tells me a problem they're having, even if I feel like we kind of get to a solution, I still engage them in so much conversation, because I feel like you can't read a book that is as good as learning from someone who's been somewhere. I'm talking about been in a situation. So if somebody shares with me, look, I feel like I struggle with this, whatever it is. Let's say it's an emotional issue. As we figure out the solution to it, I go back and I say, so do you think that really started in childhood, or what do you think caused that? If it's a person, I feel like I can engage them in questions. If they ask me a question about their health and I start to engage them in questions, I learn more from people, especially people who are trying Plexus, who were previously sick, than I could learn from any book. And that's because I'm probably almost to an annoying point, a question asker. I'm reading a private message now and grinning, but yes, I have fine-tuned skills in question asking. I was born with this, like, I want to know why about everything. For some reason, I'm born wanting to know why about everything. Well, why? Why is that? I used to drive my mother crazy. I wanted to know why she wanted me to do something. And it wasn't even what am I trying to say? It wasn't a rebellious thing. I really did. And she realized if she would have just explained to me why, I'd be fine. Like, it didn't matter even if I didn't agree with it. I just wanted to know why. And that's the way I am I want to know why you're sick. What made you sick? And so I'll ask all the questions until I find the answer to that, if possible. And I've got a lot of funny private messages coming in right now. But anyway, I encourage you to be more engaging when you talk to people, to be more engaging on social media. Sometimes I'll go through a spell, like right now I haven't posted much in the past several days. If I've got a lot going on with family and stuff, I may go get in to a rut where I'm not posting a lot on social media. But then once I get back in it, I'm completely, fully engaged. And I want you guys to take this challenge that we're going to do not lightly. I want you to take it seriously. Those of you who want to do it, I don't want you to phone it in. Like pretend like for the next 7 days, your only job in regards to Plexus is to just do this challenge. And it's just going to be giving you tips about how to engage on your social media every single day, how to brand yourself. Branding yourself is extraordinarily more important than branding Plexus. I couldn't say that any plainer. It's 1,000 times more important than talking about Plexus. People, you know this, if you buy things, you would rather buy things from people that you like than anything else. You want to buy things from people who you feel like you know. And if you don't feel that way, you're in the minority. I'm just going to say it like that. There's nothing wrong with not feeling that way, but the majority of people do feel that way. It's a connectedness human thing. So I hope you guys are excited about this challenge. I'm borrowing parts of the challenge from someone else, but then there are things even about their challenge that I'm going to tweak because I want it to be very specific for this team. I think this team has a lot of people who, even though you may not be yellow on the personality wheel, you do have some yellow tendencies. Many of you do. And I want that to shine for you because if you have a yellow tendency, which means like, you're a helper, most people who are yellow fall into like the service industries. So like nursing, caretaking, those kind of things, teachers, and not all, but I'm just giving you kind of an idea. And so many of you, if you don't share about those parts of your life, then people just may think that you're reclusive. Does that make sense? If you're less outspoken, I have become more. I've had to work on the outspoken part of me because I was very much a yellow and a pleaser in regards to the color wheel. And I avoided confrontation except for with my husband. I've never been afraid to confront him about things. But I was always one of those that I never felt it was important to hash things out with someone. And I avoided confrontation above all things. And I'm going to answer. I've got some questions here that are coming. I'm going to answer just in 1 second. But I feel like a lot of you, because of my yellow tendencies, I have drawn in some yellows. And even if you're not, this will relate to you. I mean, this branding thing will be super important to you. But if you are, you may struggle to brand yourself because the reds are usually more natural born leaders. They're the ones that, like, even in first grade are bossing people around, and they know what they have all the good ideas. And I'm not making fun of it because I really need some more red. I wish I had a lot more red tendency in my life so that I could structure things better and get things done and be a dynamic power leader and all these things. But for me, I have to go with what I have and have to go with who I am and show people who I am from my heart. Now, someone asked, can you explain more about branding? Said, I've had some people speak about branding, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm just reading the extra comment there. So I think this challenge will explain it because the question there is us talking more about branding. I think it really comes down to partly vulnerability, willing to let your walls down a little bit. I'm not saying you need to show people what your house looks like or give your people your address. Nothing scary that's like, I don't want people knowing everything about me. I feel like a lot of you feel like you know a lot about me, but you don't really. Like, you don't know anything scary about me. Jetty always stops me before I let it get to that point where he'd be like, don't tell people where we live, right? But I'm just saying, I'm not asking you to share things about your life that are inappropriate to share with public in a public setting. But I am asking you to give some consideration to letting your walls down and letting people see a glimpse into your life, a glimpse into what you want to portray to the world about who you are. And yes, I have a lot of people. I have someone saying I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. I have no idea how to brand myself other than Plexus. Now, see, this is the important truth here. Branding yourself is way more important. I came out of the gates with letting people refer to me as the fungus queen, even though it didn't hit my taste buds well at all. I remember thinking, that's really gross. But I did lead. I mean, my very first post was a picture of a gross toenail, and it was my gross toenail. But I also knew that was catching. I knew people would look at it. I knew a lot of people would ask me a lot of questions about it because I had this girly girl photography business. And immediately I'm like, look, this was my nasty toenail. It's better now. And I even said, I know this is gross, but if somebody else out there struggles with this, I hate for you to struggle with it when it could be over with. And all of my great testimonies in the beginning came from the people who ordered just ProBio 5 to get rid of a nasty toenail. And their testimonies were all over the charts. Like people were saying, hey, is this supposed to help my mood? Is this supposed to help my sugar cravings? Is this supposed to help my breathing? Is this supposed to help my joint issues? I'm trying to stay compliant. They were asking me real names of things. But I remember just thinking, I have no idea. Like, I doubt it. But I was saying, I don't know, maybe. So I'm making a list. And that comes from my willingness to be like, okay, I struggled with this. This was what my fancy photography business looked like this. Very boutique, very as high end as I could make it look because it was all about image and photography. And then I come on my Facebook page where people from countless weddings that I had shot pictures at have added me on Facebook because they wanted to see the pictures of their niece or the pictures of whoever's wedding they were at. They'd added me on Facebook. And so I have this audience of people that they don't really know me. And the next thing you know, they're looking at my toenail. I didn't want to be seen as a fungus queen, but the paycheck paid off and it continues to. And like I had the conversation with Jetty, I think I'm about to do this thing about my toenail. I think, and he's like, why would you do that? I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to. Now I'm not telling you to get out there and be all gross and every 3 days talking about poop or that's another way of branding yourself that might not be that smart. You can go right back to being your normal self after you talk about toenails for the first time. But just that initial engagement and sometimes the shock effect. I know you guys know full well that I probably once every 2 or 3 months talk about libido because it's one of the biggest problems. It's one of the hugest problems. And I'll say it in a funny way. I see some shocked faces, but I always will come out. That's why I do it. I'll say, I used to have this little cute graphic that said, it was one of those, it looked like an old timey vintage card. It's got a woman talking to her husband. She's like, not tonight, honey. I have a headache. And however, I had somehow changed the graphic to say something a little bit different that. But the thing is I said, are you a romantic procrastinator? And, there's help for people who have that issue. Well, people who have that issue is like, 90% of married women. We got lots of things to do, and that's not at the top of our list, right? And also sleep might be a way ahead of that, right? That's the way, and see, right now, even as I'm shocking you, if I am, many of you, I'm not shocking you at all because you've heard me talk about this before. But the truth is, it's cheaper than marital counseling, and the other truth is, one time I posted it on a Saturday night, and one of my guys from church walked straight up to me, and he's like, that post you posted on Facebook last night, he's like, that was sneaky. What do you mean sneaky? He's like, well, my wife's been wanting to take this stuff for her weight, and I'm all like, it's kind of expensive. He's like, but I was thinking about I was like, really? You were thinking about it after I posted that? Isn't that interesting? Right? That's interesting that now you're tuned into the frequency of Plexus, right? Because I was hitting all the right buttons. What?
You just found his frequency.
I found his frequency. That's right. I found, turn your CB to the husband's frequency instead of the wife's frequency. Now, I try to keep it clean. I'm not talking about anything vulgar. In fact, I always do it in a funny, but I always have a lot of people, Plexus people, weigh in on a post like that because they're like, I was wondering is that what the deal is? Or they'll say, oh, I noticed that after 2 weeks on it. I couldn't believe it. And the truth is we cage up and don't talk about things like that because we pretend like, oh, that's not going on in our house, whatever. And I'm like, well, if you'd see all the testimonies that I get from people in private message, because people don't want to talk about it on their wall. I'm the one that'll talk about it on my wall, but it's true. And it is cheaper than therapy. It's cheaper than marital counseling. And I see lots of people who are like, wow, that's what our marriage was missing. Now, here's the answer. What their marriage was missing is, what was the problem was a hormonal imbalance. And that's the Slim. The Slim comes in, fixes a hormonal imbalance, and there you go. Boom, shakalaka. There you go. You're welcome, in case you didn't know the answer to that question. Okay, now I'm sweating a little bit. Let's see. So, okay, aside from the fact that I want you to do this branding challenge, while you're doing it, I want you to be keeping in the back of your mind knowing that we're going to be doing another 7-day challenge again next month. The first few days of the month, we'll be inviting people. The middle of the month, we'll do another 7-day challenge. So I want you to be keeping that in mind as you see people like your posts that maybe don't normally like your Plexus post or your posts in general. And as you see, I want you to keep a list. I want you to find yourself a sheet of paper that's separate from everything else, or put it in the notes in your phone of all the people that you need to be making a prospect list. So then when it comes time to invite those people who are being more prone to, like your post or comment on your post when you're doing it this branding way, those are the people that I want you to think about inviting to our next 7-day trial. So everybody on board with this? Okay. My dad used to have the gift of being able to get away with talking about anything. And like nobody else could talk about the things he could talk about, and he'd get away with it. He could harass people and get away with it. And so when I'm talking about libido, I like to think I inherited it from my dad. I can get away with it somehow. So y'all are welcome for that, being on my team and all. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to go through these questions really quick. Oops, hang on. It's bumping up as more people answer. Hang on. Okay, somebody said, no wonder there's so many Plexus babies. I want to tell you another reason that there's a lot of Plexus babies outside of the libido thing. People who struggle, women who struggle with issues in regards to PCOS and endometriosis. What they normally treat PCOS with is metformin, which is a diabetes medicine. And it doesn't really fix it, but it helps a little. And since our Slim also fixes blood sugar issues, we see people who previously, actually we had one in our family who, she's no longer family, but she was married into our family. Actually, she wasn't married into her family, but one of her family members was married into our family. And I can remember my mom saying, so-and-so's pregnant. And I was like, I thought she couldn't get pregnant. And my mom's telling me, yeah, this is what she had, such and such problem. But somehow it was a miracle. I said, Mom, did you sell her some Plexus? And she's like, yeah, about 6 months ago. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I've said, I think we need to have onesies at convention that just say, oops, right? Because lots of people who previously had hormonal issues don't struggle with it anymore. So that's awesome. Okay. So all of you who are having questions, either privately or not, in regards to the challenge, work through the challenge. That should answer most of your questions in regards to branding. Somebody here sharing about one of their Plexus babies too. Jennifer, that's awesome. Uh-oh. I got people again, unless somebody's trying to tell me something. Hang on a second. I was on a team call for somebody else the other night, and somebody was holding a toddler in their lap. We kept unmuting. And it was really noisy at their house. It didn't matter how many times we muted. It was quite, which is maybe what's going on right now. I keep hearing. It's funny. Okay, so, I'm going to pray over us tonight. I want to thank Dawn and Greg. Thank you guys very much. I'll thank you again after our prayer, but in case somebody has to get off, any of y'all have to get off here. I appreciate you guys being willing to share some of your stuff with us, and I want to congratulate you guys. And so I also want to thank my husband for finally putting the lights up in my office. Woo, woo, he's awesome. Yeah, I told him, I said, now people are going to be able to see me on the day that my eyes are bright red. That's the perfect day for it, babe. You did it just right. Okay. So I just want to thank you, Lord. I want to thank you for my team. I want to thank you for receptive and open, willing hearts. Lord, I thank you for this sneak attack ministry that Plexus is for so many people, not just on our team, so many people who, we've lost count of how many people have actually come to the Lord via Plexus in one way or the other. Such a cool thing. God, I'm going to pray specifically over this week. God, I just pray creative ideas over each of them that are on the call tonight. New concepts, new ideas, maybe a new way to look at their business. Literally creative, spontaneous, little mini miracles that pop up inside their head in regards to how to brand themselves. Because the truth is, Lord, the brand is already there. You know, we're born inside us with this, this call on our lives. And to just step into that, I just pray that some people will see the glimpse of that for the first time this week. It all starts in regards to people. It all starts with some sort of influence, Lord. I just pray increase influence into each of their lives, into their, not just their businesses, but in their life in general, because that's, part of the ministry part of it is trust, influence, people to have some sort of connection. It's like, they recognize something inside of you, the light that shines inside of you. God, I just ask for more of that, more of your Holy Spirit significance inside of us, more of your creative power inside of us. Lord, that we would be brave, that we would pray over people, that we would walk in that first and foremost, that everything that we do is led first with your kingdom in mind. Every step we take, every decision that we make, Lord, that we always keep in mind, your kingdom come and your will be done first as we make decisions. God wants us to love on people of all kinds, people we don't agree with, people who aggravate us, people who that we feel like we have some sort of issue, like we can't forgive. We're called to love. And that's I feel like that's at the core of connection. God, I just ask that you soften our hearts to that message, and that you soften others' hearts as we encounter them, Lord, that you go before us. God, thank you that we already are branded. And, I just feel like if you have something that's lingering above you, on you, around you, that you feel like is stuck to you, that you think, I don't like it. I'm not talking about like a fungus thing. I'm talking about like if there's something that makes you feel shameful, I just break that off of you right now in the name of Jesus. And I want you to know that that's not what you're labeled and that's not what you're branded. And it doesn't have to be. God doesn't want it to be at the core of who you are, who you think you are. If any of you are struggling with something that you're like, something from your past or something that's hurtful from your past, God, I just thank you for your love and your mercy and your grace, and that we could feel the significance of that. I used to be, I shared this week earlier. I'm going to share this again, but I used to be a person who looked through the lens of life in like a coping skill way. Like I used manipulation to cope with things. So when I couldn't, things weren't going my way, or if there was an uncomfortable situation, I just thought, well, just outsmart it. That's the way I always looked at it. Just be smarter than the situation and outsmart it. I didn't lead the way I'm encouraging you to lead tonight. I didn't lead with, first and foremost, God, what's your heart for this situation? By the way, when you partner with heaven in situations, sometimes the ideas and answers that you get will be bizarre. Like you'll think, that sounds really bizarre. Am I supposed to do that? Am I supposed to tell someone a such and such? Is this what you're wanting from me, Lord? And stepping out in faith like that can be scary when God's calling you to partner with him in a way that doesn't seem like an earthly way at all. But I'm going to tell you, in my experiences with God so far, so many times, when I feel like I'm saying, Lord, what do you have? What kind of answer do you have for this? What solution do you have for this? Lots of times it doesn't look like anything like I would come up with. And lots of times, honestly, the reason it doesn't look like what I would come with is because sometimes he just tells me to be still or shut up. I mean, that's my words for what he's saying. Just stop. Wait. Hold on. So I pray that whatever your solutions are for something you may be dealing with, that you are sensitive to it, that your ears are open to partnering with heaven and not having to look through the goggles of this earth for the way the world does things. Creative solutions, creative ways to present the branding that's already there. That's the important thing as we go through this challenge, that you don't have to feel like, oh, she wants me to be somebody else. She wants me to be like her and post like her. And that's not what I'm saying at all. Maybe there are parts of it, like maybe I want you to be more vulnerable, or maybe I would encourage you to be more engaging or something like that, but not to take on anybody else's personality traits. Just maybe share more of what already belongs to you. It feels like it would sound kind of cliche to be like, because we're all made so different and, we're all so unique, but that's actually, it's one of the most interesting aspects of life in general, is the creation of how we're all so different. sit and think about stuff like that, like, honestly, if I'm being completely candid, this kind of stuff consumes my mind a lot. I think about God a lot. To be honest with you, I didn't think about God a lot before people in my life started dying. I gave very little time to the thought of creation, of uniqueness, of what heaven is like, until it became like I needed that in order to breathe. I needed to be able to better understand. Mostly I needed to hear. I needed to listen. It's like I went through a phase, not really a phase. I went through a period of my life where my most desperate thing was, I just need to know. I need to know that God is real. And I need to know the answers to questions like, why? And I'm going to tell you what, it wasn't a passive question. None of those were passive questions. Those still to this day, like, I still dig for deeper meaning to everything. That was a hunger that was planted inside me when my brother died. And I know many of you have gone through circumstances, and your circumstance, honestly, might not be the death of someone. Your circumstance could seem entirely different than that to bring you to that level of desire to have relationship, desire to have meaning, desire to be able to hear. That's something I desired deeply. I used to look at people and I think, man, even before my brother died, I actually went to a church service. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I'm just sharing. I went to a church service with my brother, and I can remember the guy who was speaking. I was like, that's so interesting. It's like he can literally hear God. And I remember thinking, would that not be the coolest thing in the world to, like have the kind of relationship where it's like communion, where I think he can actually hear. That man in that service that day, he actually spoke over me. First time that had ever happened to me in my life. I didn't even know what that was. And he had spoken over someone else there in the crowd. And while he was doing it, I'm elbowing my brother. I said, he won't do that to a visitor, will he? Because I was thinking that would be super embarrassing, right? And my brother's like, no. This was where my brother was going to church at the time. And I was like, are you sure? Because I feel like he's fixing to do that to me. He's like, no, quit being ridiculous. And sure enough, he spun around, points across the room at me. And he's like, do I know you? And I'm like, no. And then I immediately clam up. I'm like, get clammy, and I clam up. And everything that he spoke over me, looking back on that was 2000. Trip was just born. Trip was a baby. So early 2000. And some of that stuff is unfolding right now. 17 years later. Things that didn't look at all like me at the time. But it was part of my brand. Even then, when it didn't look anything like me, it was part of my brand. I look back on it, I think, yeah, God had already branded me in the things that. Now, the reason I started telling that is because that deep desire, you can have it without all the heartache. You can just say one day, Lord, I just want to have that. I want to have that kind of relationship. I want to be able to hear from you. I want to be able to know that you are real. Not that some guy told me you were real, and not even that I read in a book that you are real. I want to know inside, the very deepest part of me. I want to know that you are real. I mean, it's been a process unfolding in my life. I can tell you this. It's not just the knowing he's real, but everything has been this interesting story. And I share parts of that even. I mean, those are very vulnerable parts of my life, but I share them with you guys. Part of the branding that I do, I don't look at it as branding, but I'm sharing with you guys now. Part of the branding I do is with you guys. I share parts of my life with you. I let you have a glimpse into some of that story I just told. That's some of the most personal. That's one of the most personal things that's ever happened to me in my life, was the first time something like that happened. It's a very significant story in my life now, especially looking back. I want to speak something over Dawn and Greg right now. I want you guys to know that there is so much in store for you, not just with this business, but there's a lot in store for you in general. And I feel like you're supposed to speak a lot of life into that and just claim it. I think you're supposed to just wake up every morning in gratitude. I think you're supposed to go to sleep every single night claiming God's purpose and calling over your life. I believe with 100% of my heart that it's very significant. You guys are special to us, but I just feel like whatever I'm feeling right now, like it's God. God, we thank you that you are so faithful. We thank you that you fight our battles for us, Lord. We thank you that you're always working on our behalf in every situation. And I lift up all of these words, all of these thoughts, these feelings, the knowingness, all of this. I lift it up in the name of Jesus. Amen. All right. Mercy. I love Whole Tones music. I can't talk about that enough. Whole Tones are amazing. All right, you guys, y'all have a super night. I appreciate you getting on here tonight. I'll be posting every morning for the next 7 days about our branding thing. If you're not on my team page, but you're in other pages that I'm in, I'll post in both groups. So, phew, what? You guys have a blessed night too. Whew, I'm sweating. Like sweating. All right, I'm gonna stop it now.